It is 7:18, and we are just so happy that you are our audience. Thank you very much, Yakima, because you know when we come to you and and this community needs something, man, you step up. I mean, I remember the first couple of years that I was here, we raised money for our canine, our Yakima police canines, and it was just a matter of about a week or so. People were walking in with $500 and $800 checks, and boom, we had protective vests for our canines, and those kinds of stories. And those kinds of
that he tells over and over.
We've asked you a million times to do that, and every time you've stepped up. And last month, we did the same. We had a man by the name of Ramon Dang come in here and talk about Staff Sergeant Jack J Pendleton, a Medal of Honor recipient. That's right.
Now in stereo.
That's right. At Tahoma Cemetery, had a small grave marker. Ramon saw that and said, I want to change that. And so we came to you and said, let's change that. And we did it. $8,000 later. And Ramon Dang in the studio this morning, a very thankful man. Good morning, Ramon.
Good morning. And yes, I'm very thankful for everyone's help.
Isn't that awesome?
Very awesome. Very awesome. It took a long time for us to get to the point to where I can get the grave marker done, and then just the fact that people stood up and gave as much as they did. Yeah, it was incredible.
I mean, we had people coming in here with $5 and $10, $20 checks, $100 checks, $500, $1,000 cash.
Yes,
it was awesome.
It was. So with the grave marker itself, it is paid. So what's going to happen this week is I'm making a final payment to Cemetery Tim Morris, making the final payment for the grave marker. So it'll take about it started last month, so it'll take about another 3 to 4 more months for it to complete. With that, we did a small addition to thank the community. So there's going to be a surprise at the end of the grave marker. So it's going to have a kind of a pillow type thing, just thanking the community of Yakima
that's neat.
for giving what they can and just representing the military here in Yakima and helping out the family.
Excellent.
Doing that.
Okay, now I know that the goal was to have the money by Memorial weekend.
Yes, sir.
And so will you have a ceremony there on Memorial weekend for it, or how will that work?
I was planning to unveil it during Memorial Day weekend, but it's not going to happen. So it'll probably be around September when it actually happens.
Okay.
But like on Memorial Day weekend, like I said last month, is I'm doing another ride. So this time I'm going to go down to Vancouver. There's 3 memorial graves that I'm going to be cleaning up down there. One of them is a Buffalo soldier. And then I'm going to Portland, Oregon to clean up another one down there. Staff Sergeant Bjork, I think that's his name. And I'll clean him up, and then I'll come back here on Monday and redo again Staff Sergeant Pendleton's grave.
This is all a result of your research, right? Your homework into who were Medal of Honor recipients and what they did in the Pacific Northwest region, right?
Yes, sir. Yeah. So as I scrolled around and looking at the grave markers, that again, sometimes the pictures are not up to date, and it just needs a little TLC, some cleaning up to it. So that's the reason why I started doing it. And then again, going back to Spokane, they have really outstanding grave markers. And then again, the Clealum grave marker for the Coast Guard, the only one that we have in the United States. So
and have you been there?
Several times, sir. Several times, yeah.
Isn't it weird? You got this 30-year veteran, Sergeant Major, who could clean the floor with both of us, calling us sir. I mean, it just seems so odd that, but I just have such respect for you, Ramon.
Yeah,
I really, really do. And for you to take this on is kind of like, at this time, you're now transitioning out of the military, still finishing up some projects that are important to you. And I wonder, as Sergeant Major, if I could just see how we used to call it strack. Was that the word? If something was strack, it was like clean and ordered and together and all. That's pretty strack, whatever.
Yes.
Back in '74 when I was in. I imagine you run a pretty tight ship, and things have to look good and be nice when you were on the job, because you carry that over to how you want these Medal of Honor recipients' gravestones to be, and I think that's just an extension of how you roll, and I think that's pretty awesome.
Thank you, sir. It's the upbringing that, I came from an Asian family and military background also. My dad retired from the military, and then, with my mom, she runs a tight ship.
Right on. Well, she passed it on to her handsome son, so that's pretty cool.
Right on. Good stuff. Are there a number of other grave sites that don't have monuments that are Medal of Honor recipients in the state, or are we unique? Was this a unique grave that didn't have a monument?
I really can't say personally if they
the ones you visited, though. I mean,
the one I visited, this is the only one that did not have anything except for the actual marker. So I'll find out next month with the others 6 that I'm going to be looking at.
Yeah. I mean, I just can't imagine that those communities couldn't come together, wouldn't want to come together,
right.
If they just knew what they were doing and that they was going to come together.
Sometimes it might just be that awareness of, do you know what we have here?
Yes, and I think that's what it is the awareness. A lot of people, we walk around, we don't know what's out there until someone points it out.
Sure.
I think it was the Wreath Across America was another project that I took on, and that's when we adopted the Lower Valley Garden Cemetery as a group to lay wreath with them, because normally wreath are donated. Last year I donated, I paid off out of my pocket. I donated about 10 wreath. 5 here in Tahoma and 5 down in the Lower Valley, and then we helped them lay the wreath down. A lot of them did not know that they actually have a Medal of Honor recipient down there.
Yeah.
So one of our members, we were here in Tahoma doing a presentation, and one of the members asked where the grave marker was, and I showed it to him, and then all of a sudden, it was like, what is that? I said, it's a Medal of Honor recipient. And they're like, oh my God, I didn't know we had anyone here. It's just the knowledge at times, if no one takes the time to look, or you say, take the time to smell the roses. You'll never know what's out there,
Well, as a military guy and from a military family, you understand what this is all about. How would you explain it to a civilian who wonders why you're doing this or what you're up to, who doesn't have the same lifelong involvement and respect and understanding of military? How do you convey to them why this is an important thing to do?
Well, the way I'd say this is, receiving the Medal of Honor, no one wants it, and no one receives it for just doing a good deed. It's an ultimate sacrifice. At times we have surviving Medal of Honor recipients, a lot of them here, and if you do talk to them, a lot of them are going through a lot, like PTSD, TBI, traumatic brain injury, and it's just they do it because they did it out of quick reaction. It's muscle memory. It's just the training. So a lot of these Medal of Honor recipients, they don't want that medal. It just happens to land on their lap because the ultimate sacrifice that they did. One guy lost his arm, but he continued on the fight. One guy, multiple injuries, and he still continued to fight. And one of the first one we had was Sergeant First Class Smith. It was during OF1. Sergeant First Class, he was a medic. This cop was being overrun, and then he took the 50 cal and actually stood there while everybody was evacuating, and he ultimately sacrificed himself. Was firing the 50 cal towards the enemy that was overtaking their cop, and he was fatally wounded and he died. He was the first Medal of Honor recipient since the Vietnam War. After the Vietnam War, he was the first one to receive
He
it.
basically said, "You guys get out of here. I'll hold them as long as I can."
Yes, sir.
And give you as much time as possible, but it cost him his life in doing that.
Yes, sir.
The old "no man has greater love than he lay down his life for his brothers." I mean, that's really what that represented. And so I guess you don't have to be a military guy to understand that sort of personal sacrifice for someone other than yourself.
Yes.
So
It's selfless service,
Yeah.
put it that way. The love for God and country and the soldiers.
Ramon, I probably should have asked you this earlier, but what will the monument look like? Can you describe it for us?
Yes, sir. So the monument is going to be 3-tiered, basically. The centerpiece is kind of like an obelisk. So it's about 5 feet tall, and level on the top. On the top, there's going to be a hole drilled about 6 feet with it, not 6 feet, but about 6 to 7 inches down there. It all depends also the length of the pole. So with that, I already bought the poles. I already bought the lights for
You
it.
got some flag poles.
Poles. I also bought the flags, the Medal of Honor flags. Actually, is being shipped with the U.S. flag being shipped
cool.
already. The flagpole itself is going to be about 17 feet high. And then we're just going to drill it about halfway through, stick it in there, and Tahoma is going to help us put that together. And then after that, on the side itself, there's going to be the grave markers itself is going to say Doris's name, is going to say Jack J Pendleton and his name on there, and then have the normal birth and death. And then in the center is actually his World War II photo that he has, and then a Medal of Honor. And you'll see the actual Medal of Honor is all colored. So you'll see the blue, you'll see the gold, and the handwritten citation in the back. Is layered in gold. And then again, we'll have that pillow down there on the back side. If you guys want to look at it, it's still on my Facebook page. And if not, you can still go to the GoFundMe account still and just look at it. You can't donate anymore because I closed it down, but people can still look at it to see what the final outcome of it is.
Cool. Very good. Well, congratulations, Ramon. I know that this is not the kind of project one heads out to do expecting to get congratulations on. This is like your version of a labor of love and respect, and we get that. It's just nice that the community was invited to come along for the ride, and literally, not on your rides, but along for the ride.
Right.
And they got the importance of it and joined you in this. And anyone who wants at some point in time will be able to go to Tahoma and see what the community and you decided to do on behalf of one extremely brave and selfless guy. It's a great story, and it's a great slice of humanity, both your efforts and ultimately his. So much respect and appreciation for your service to this country for 30 years, for your continuing to want to serve your fellow soldiers even when your time is up. And since you're going to be in the neighborhood for the next few years, people will need to, where will they find you? What are you going to be doing with your time? Or do you know yet?
I kind of do. It's kind of like the old saying when I was in the when I was younger in the military. I used to tell them, you're a sergeant major, and the only job that you can get is driving a bus. Everyone makes fun of those guys that drives the Bluebird, as we call it back then, going to and from the military school. I'll be doing that.
Is that right?
Yes. I'm actually going to be trying to work with the Sila School District as a school bus driver. It's my passion is teaching, and I love kids. I have 7 of them, so it's something that I want to do, especially with my 8-year-old. So substitute teaching and driving a school bus.
Good for you.
That's great.
Sergeant Major's here. All of a sudden, kids sit up straight, eyes on the board. I like it.
Know it.
Ramon Dang, thank you so much for your
Thank
time.
you, sir. Appreciate
Congratulations on this project. We any other things that move it forward as we get closer to time, we want to share with the community, and obviously we want you to come on and announce when the unveiling and all of that's going to take place later on this year. So.
Yes, sir, definitely. I'll make sure the community knows what's going on and let you guys know also.
Right on.
Great. Good on you, sir. All right, thank you.
Ramon Dang. And you know what? He's just a guy who cares. And when you have a guy who cares, anything can get accomplished. Anything can get accomplished. So there's a pretty good role model and example for the rest of us right there. Lance will have news right after this. News Talk 1280.